And in 3, 2, 1, we're live.
And sometimes you gotta twerk, twerk, twerk that ass.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. No, you go ahead. Didn't mean to steal your thunder.
No. We should just throw it back and forth.
All right.
Just make it really awkward for people.
All right.
Like, no, you go, dude. And then like you like.
No, it's
like,
okay. It's your turn.
No.
I'm a little thirsty. You go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Me too. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Incredibly Dope Podcast. This is going to be our first stream / podcast within quarantine. So I was recently laid off, and this gentleman right here, I'm sure work has slowed down for you just a little bit since this whole virus thing has taken hold. And yeah, shit's been crazy, so just been adapting, but here we are. Today, the topics that we're going to go over, we have 7 segments for you. If you want to skip to any of them, you can skip to them in the description below in the video. Mike here will have everything time-stamped out, so you can just skip right ahead. Skip past all the shit that you don't want to see. If you don't want to waste your time anyway. Wouldn't be wasting time, it says.
So when's the last time you went to the grocery store?
You're talking to me, right?
Yeah.
Not the fake audience?
Yeah.
Right. So the last time I went to the grocery store was, I don't know, like the end of last week. And I was pretty uncomfortable, honestly. Just with everything that's been going on.
I was in there yesterday, actually. I was at Walmart. And Walmart has a new thing in place where you're only allowed to take one of each particular item, which is essentially stopping people from hoarding everything, which is nice. It was the first place I was able to go to find chicken. I haven't had chicken in like 2 weeks, just because you can't find it anywhere. But I mean, as far as the virus in and of itself, there's definitely a lot more cases here than there was like a week ago. I don't even know how they're going to get a handle on it at this point, because it's rapidly multiplying. I mean, at least where I live right now, it's not as big, but I mean, compared to where I was originally from, which is where you reside now in Jersey, like there's probably
it's getting big.
Yeah,
there's like 3,000 cases plus right now,
because there's so many people in that small condensed little area. So, and
even more uncomfortably, we live in a condominium.
Yeah, so you're close to people.
Yeah, so the mailmen are in and out. I had a joke there, but I'm gonna ignore it. Speaking of which, my son looks a lot like him. Yeah, no, I hate the idea of everyone being so compact, because God forbid. I mean, I'm looking at it kind of like any of the movies we've ever seen growing up with zombie infections. It's flu's a flu, whatever. It's if a virus is a virus, whatever. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's transferable, blah blah blah, the whole 9 yards. So I hate the fact that everyone's so, kind of tight and stuffed in. It would be nice if we were in our own house and we were remote and we, you know what I mean, nowhere near anybody, and I could just sit on the roof with a shotgun and be like, come on, get her.
The thing that's really messed up now is originally, like a week ago, we were all under the impression that everybody who makes under 75 grand a year is going to get a $1,200 stimulus check to like help them out with paying for bills and stuff, and apparently that's not happening. That didn't go through. They're supposed to be having another debate about this, or meeting about this, or vote on it, or whatever today. But let me actually see if they came out with the results for how that went yet. Here we go. 5 minutes ago, Senate stimulus deal includes individual checks, but don't expect the money right away. Lawmakers struck a $2 trillion stimulus deal Wednesday that includes sending checks directly to individuals amid the coronavirus crisis, but it will likely take until at least May before the money goes out.
I'm feeling this.
$1,200 for individuals, $2,400 for couples, and $500 per child.
It sounds weird, but I'm a firm believer, and my belief there is, if you're not working and you didn't get sick, you don't get shit. Why are you going to get money for sitting back and watching the fucking news? If you get sick, that's one thing.
Well, you would have had to have filed last year's tax return.
Good.
Which would essentially mean that
You're working.
Yeah. At least I would think. You don't... I mean, if you're not working, you don't really file a tax return, do you?
Because, I mean, no matter... I don't want my tax-paying money to go out and go to someone who's not doing anything and sitting on their fucking ass.
Right. I mean, I don't think anybody really wants that, but... I mean, this will be at least... But it's such a double-edged sword, because now you're just... Look at what's happening with, like, the stock market and everything. This really has tanked our economy. I mean, it hasn't made itself completely apparent right now, but look at the gas prices. Look at the prices of all of the stocks. I mean, real estate's gonna come next. So, I don't know, man. This is a great time for millennials. If you've got a little bit of cash saved up and you've been wanting to buy a house, if you wait until the tail end of this, you could probably scoop a house real cheap.
You could probably scoop a house for like 3 12-packs of toilet paper.
Yep, that's like gold apparently now.
I actually think that 1 roll of toilet paper is worth more than a bar of gold right now.
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? That would be something.
That'd be wealthy AF.
But amidst all of the coronavirus and all that craziness, now there's apparently another virus. I don't know how widespread this is. I saw an article about this.
You said widespread. I suppose I'll let you know that.
Thank you. I saw an article about this yesterday, and the Hanta virus is a virus that you contract from eating rodents, which also came from China. So it's kind of like what's going on? What's going on now?
I got my own conspiracy theory about it, and I know it sounds crazy, and I don't care. 1 is one thing, but 2, there's definitely something bigger going on, and maybe even some kind of fucking subtle attack somehow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's weird. It's really weird. You know, what if everything is being cured so quickly? It's not being quote unquote cured or being cured quickly, but what if it didn't spread as far as maybe it was originally intended to, if it was meant to be disastrous?
Mm-hmm.
It's another one. You know what I mean? I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
And it's like, I said, like, at the beginning of like last week, it only takes one more thing to make the situation that much worse. You know what I mean? Like 1 earthquake, 1 series of tornadoes, 1 more virus, 1 terrorist attack. Like, we are so... I don't even want to say vulnerable right now, because somebody watching that had the wrong intentions might get the wrong idea. You know what I mean? But that's just the state of where we are right now. It's actually pretty... It's messed up. It's super disconcerting, and I'd probably be more worried about it if I wasn't so damn desensitized.
Yeah, really. Talk about desensitized. There's like an 80% margin of me that doesn't give a shit about any of this, and I'm just like, hey, I just want it gone. Did my shit just unfocus?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. There we go.
How do you like this? How do you like this?
Let me Google before we blow it out of proportion. Yeah, there we go. A man in China who died on Monday reportedly tested positive for Hanta virus, leading officials to test an additional 32 people who had traveled on a bus with him before his death, Global Times reported.
That's fucking scary as shit.
The rat-borne illness, which U.S. health officials say cannot be transmitted from person to person, is typically passed to patients when they breathe in air contaminated with the virus through rodent droppings. So there was rat shit on the bus, and they must have been breathing it in.
Well, hopefully that's not that serious.
No.
If you want to hear some shit, my buddy, unfortunately, had, I think, 3 or 4 family members pass away from coronavirus. It's one of my closest friends, and I got word that he was in contact with his uncle, who was like the first or the second one to pass away. and he has been sick.
Mm.
And should go get looked at, but I know he won't. So if you're reading this, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Or reading this.
I mean, I can't blame him though, because number one, half the time when you go to the hospital, they give you an aspirin and hook you up to an IV for 3 hours and tell you to go home.
Charge you way too much fucking money.
And don't do anything for you. And then, like, I mean, it is what it is. You know, when it comes down to it, I think that our medical facilities are really full of shit. I really think that we have an entire board of doctors that appear like they have all the answers, but they really don't. And like, I get you don't want to come out and say that to everybody because that causes panic and hysteria and all of that. But like, you can't put on this front like, oh, I'm the hospital, you can come to me for anything and I can solve any problem. And then when people show up, you want to just collect the, you know, the health insurance money because it's easy. And then the people leave and they're not getting any better, and then they go home and sweat it off, and then they find like some holistic or natural remedy and just take care of it themselves. I mean, that's why I don't go to the doctor anymore. I just try to like take care of my, you know, my own stuff, and that's it.
I suck on myself.
I can suck on myself. Suck on my own dick.
Suck on my own too, bitch.
Giant potentially hazardous asteroid will fly safely by the Earth in April. Don't worry, it won't even come close to hitting us. Could you imagine, though? Could you actually imagine?
I could. I've seen the movie 2012.
I actually haven't seen that, believe it or not.
It's pretty good.
Don't worry, it poses no threat to Earth. Asteroid 527678 something or other, 1990. What the f... Alright, we need to cut to the chase here.
Just give up on it.
God, who writes these articles? These are terrible.
I don't know. You know, let's talk shit about articles for a hot second. Nothing is fucking worse than going through Facebook and you see this thing that's like, this actor was arrested for drunk driving. Click here to see who it is. And then you click on it. You got to get through 30 fucking 4 random bullshit stories that you don't want to hear about. Like, guess who hooked up with Emma Watson? I'm like, what the
hot
fuck?
singles near you.
I want to know who got arrested. Yeah, I want to know who got the DUI. Like, who done it?
Chat with singles now.
You gotta scroll down next to the second one, next to the third one, next to the fourth. Fuck you. It's the worst. I hate the way that they set up the articles, man.
Yeah.
It's so fucking rough. And no one wants to tap a million fucking times to get to the answer to something. You know, it'll be like, this is an update about the man that was attacked at the zoo. Click here for more, and then you gotta go through like fucking 20 random stories.
Do you think those websites actually like make money?
Oh, I mean, they have to.
With all those ads on there?
It takes me 30 minutes to get to the fucking answer.
Yeah, but like, who actually like pays money to one of those websites to like get?
We should probably click on the ads if we want the answers, or just read the ads. That's probably the answer. Or at least an outsourced provider for the. Well,
I mean, I guess they have to. Why else would they make the website, you know?
No.
But that's like with any of those like websites now, you click on it and like you go to it, and on the right hand side there's like tons and tons of shit.
It's like, it's either like, oh, play this really shitty digital board game. Most amazing #1 rated game in the world right now. Or it's like hot singles in your area want to meet. Also, they might be single moms. Are you by any chance a plumber?
Need Corona plumber.
Yeah. Corona condoms.
Hot Corona plumbers waiting to meet. Yeah, so I guess this asteroid's like 2.5 miles long.
Okay, so the principal, Jesus fucking Christ. So oh my god. I can't even like, that's a lot. That's a lot of meat. There's a lot of rock. Can you imagine being out there with like a Fortnite mining pick? Like, oh shit.
It's closing in on you.
Build!
Dude, imagine like being outside and watching this 2.5 mile thing come right towards you, and imagine it hitting exactly where you are, but there's a crater in the asteroid, and you just so happen to go in where the crater is. But you're like stuck in there.
Pretty sure the shock would kill you alone.
Probably.
Fucking anal fissures in your brain.
Yeah, like how does that... I guess that just completely sends Earth out of orbit, right?
I don't know. Something bad would happen. That's a lot of oomph. I mean, Earth is really big. I don't know. Do you think it would affect Earth that much? Earth is...
But the force, you know what I mean? Like... Yeah, exactly. Like the force of something that's 2.5. I mean, granted, it's not big in relation to how big the Earth is, but no. So
I don't know.
I guess
it depends on how fast it would be traveling, how much force we have in the Earth's orbit itself. We'd have to do a little bit of math. You know, maybe we can get all those stupid assholes who are constantly doing those crash tests with cars to set up something with a fucking asteroid in a block the size of the Earth.
Let's go knock out Neptune or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we got to go to Mars for a little something, a little experiment. I accepted the new asteroid challenge.
Just send it right into the planet.
Send it!
They make like a 3.5 mile long ship and they just drive it right into the planet.
I like it. Like, alright, are any of you willing to sacrifice yourselves for the greater good of mankind?
I mean, I guess not, right? Because I guess the Big Bang is how, like...
How big was the asteroid that smacked the Earth and the dinosaurs were like, ah, shit, man, yeah.
That's how they all died, right?
Exactly, like, how big was that one? Because if that one was a mile, then... We got a couple of reasons to be uncomfortable right now.
Yeah. No,
I'm gonna look that up now. No, there's no way we could know that. There's no way that someone was like, "Hello, Henry."
Big Bang asteroid size 11 to 81 kilometers, which would be 6.8.
That's a huge range.
6.8 to 50.3 miles.
Like, yo, baby, you packing? Yeah.
It's good to know that the archaeologists have really
1 to 8 inches.
narrowed that down for us.
Yeah, doing really good. They're like, well, based on the circumference of the impact here and the fact that everyone died, it could have been anywhere from the size of a really, really big golf ball that just moved really fucking fast, or maybe it was moving nice and slow because it was gentle like a Betty White, and it landed the size of a quadrumpus rhino. Just hit the Earth and shook them all to death. Like, who the fuck knows, man? Because it's pretty fucking insane. The fact that, like, a 2 mile... I'm over here like, yeah, probably the size of a little, like, truck or some shit. 2 miles, motherfucker? You know it takes you 2 minutes to travel 2 miles doing 60 miles an hour? Like, hello.
Like, that's gotta send shockwaves through the Earth and, like, cause giant, like, ripples, basically.
Millions of people would die.
I feel like... You think earthquakes are a result of asteroids hitting? Yeah.
Everything, dude. You would literally... You would take one of those, like, Ferrero Rocher chocolates and have a little hammer. You hit this side, and this side go, oh no. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I guess the concerning part is not this year when it comes around, but it's more, 2031, because it apparently is supposed to come back around again. And did it say that it was going to be closer?
At that point, if we had kids, okay, I'm sure we're going to have kids in 11 years from now. 11 years from now, let's assume that we have 5-year-olds. That's not really an age where they can really comprehend what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So what would... I think the next one it said was 2048 after that. So, like, hopefully we don't get hit now. And then in 2031, hopefully we don't get hit. And hopefully, in the meantime, we don't get hit by any random guys or those strangers in the night, you know what I mean? And then in 2048, which is 28 fucking years from now, which... Those kids will definitely be adults and definitely be, you know, have self-sustaining lives as long as they're not little crackhead bums. And Jesus, it'd be crazy. I mean, they'd be almost the age we're at, not too far off. You know, and by then we'll be what?
Old.
Shit, 28 years old. That'd be double my age. I'd be almost freaking 60.
Freaking
At that point, I'm pretty sure I'd be like, "Yeah, asteroid." Tie this shit back here. Roll the sleeves up. Come at me, bitch. You know what I mean? Like
staring at with your solar eclipse glasses.
My bucket list is finished, bitch. Bring it.
I feel bad for those kids.
So I just had an experience. I'm not gonna mention any names. On one side of my family, through one of my parents, I don't have a relationship with anybody. I have a healthy, normal relationship with one family member, and that's one cousin. And that is it. Everyone else, I don't know them. No one's ever taken the time to try to get to know me. I've taken the time to try to get to know people, and I have gotten as far as realizing that it would be for the best if I just did not. With that being said, I had a recent interaction, no names mentioned. This is pretty great. I find it pretty funny. Other people may not find it as funny. One of my family members posted this is even better. I'd never talked to this guy. I've had I don't even know if I've ever had a full conversation with him. And I had a really bad experience with him when I was growing up. Actually, he was a problem kid for sure. So he asked me, because I'm a motorcycle salesman right now. He says, "You still work at motorcycle place?" I said, "Yep." He says, and then he mentioned all this bike details, old bike, tons of problems, no title, no paperwork. It's useless. There's nothing I can do with it. And I said, "We won't buy a bike without any papers, man. Sorry." He said, "No problem." Right? And then before that, he said, "Hey man, you still work at that motorcycle shop?" "Yep." He goes, "I mean, do you do sales?" I said, "I'm a salesman, so I can help let you know if a deal is good or not." You know, because he was looking at another bike somewhere. He goes, "I would just need help getting on a financial plan." I don't even know you, and you're asking me to do some kind of private layaway, or asking me to really, really hook you up. I don't know you. You're a stranger to me. You're not family. You're not a friend. You're a stranger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you gotta get to know each other to really open up that level of being like, "Okay, you're family. I got you."
Mm-hmm.
You know, for life.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I said, that would be based on your credit. You'd have to put in a credit application. If you want to purchase something private party, you have to work with your own bank. But if you find something here, you'd have to apply with an application for that machine. And he said, "Let's say I pick a bike at your shop, but I don't pass the credit check. But I am in a position to make payments. Anything you can do?" Asking for handouts. I don't even know you, dude. I don't even know you.
Mm-hmm.
And I could feel that there was this, "Can you hook me up? Can you hook me up?" Just trying to take advantage of being related to me.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. I said nope. And he said, "No problem." I said, "You'd either have to pay in full or get a loan from a credit union or a bank that you work with." He said, "No problem." Right? Not too long ago, he posted these 2 trucks on Facebook. And I was just interested in the deal. Maybe I'd know someone who'd be interested. I don't know. Just interested to see what was going on. And he said, "Oh, I got these 2 trucks for sale. Shoot me a message." So I shot him a message, and I was like, "Hey man, details?" And he said, "Yeah, I got a Chevy for 1,000 firm and a Ford Ranger for 350. Right? And the pictures. Okay. Normal looking truck. Oh God. Yeah, trying to get this thing to focus is ridiculous. But you move over. There's obvious rod underneath. Can't really see it in the picture, but this quarter panel back here is hacked, and someone either ghetto welded or pop riveted a metal plate over it, and there's orange spray paint, and there's white spray paint, and there's dents, there's damage, there's rot. They're beat up.
Mm-hmm.
The other truck, how you like that brown rust coming up on that roof?
Damn,
Sexy,
that's looking good.
Damn, she looking thick. Yeah, bumpers damaged and everything's just beat up. Paint's missing. There's a rod hole. They're just beat up, man. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Right here. See if you can see that. I really hope you can see that. See the orange and see the white?
Damn.
Oh, she looking good.
Did it come off the lot like that?
right? Rot all on the bottom, right? And I said details and pics. He said Chevy is a great truck, no dash lights, daily driver, turnkey 4x4. Ranger needs shit, runs, moves, trailer or home and tinker with it. And I said, okay, bodies look junkyard rough. And he said both on marketplace. I said miles, and he said Chevy 155K, Ranger has 250. I didn't get back to him. He messages me. This was Tuesday. So it was yesterday. At 5 p.m., he messages me at 6 in the morning. And he says, bodies, he quoted, bodies look junkyard rough. They do. I'm just being real with you, dude. I will let you know if I am looking fat and feeling fat. I will let you know if I am looking healthy and feeling healthy. I will also let you know if that truck down the street looks like it's about to drag its fucking tailpipe and a tire's about to fall off, or if it looks great. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's one of my #1 policies. So he quotes, bodies look junkyard rough. By the way, thanks, pal. Good for you, having such an opinion. We can't all be so blunt. Or we all can't be so blunt. Have a good rest of your life, ha ha. Good talk. What? Fucking people, man. That is that side of the family. They're all like that. They're all fucking like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, I will be the first one to say they're fucking trash bag.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care that they have the same blood as me. Their genes clearly took off in a totally different direction because I do my best to be decent to people. I do my best to be decent with people. I do my best to have honest intentions and be healthy. You know, like have healthy interactions with other people, communicate healthy, and make sure that I'm just doing well. I'm on top of my own shit. You know, if I feel that something might have been offensive, I'll be like, hey, you know, what did you mean by that? And if they're like, nothing. Like, oh, okay, cool, man. I'm like, hey, what do you mean by that? And he was like, you look like a fat scumbag. And I'd be like, yeah, you're right. No, but like, you know, and you really, you gotta, people don't know how to fucking control their own emotions. Control yourselves. Especially this motherfucker just had a baby. Just had a kid. So that's another person out there who clearly fails to you know what, I won't bash too much. There's a lot I could say. There's people out there, there's a lot of people out there who fail to control their own emotions and conduct themselves properly in a healthy fashion, in a way that doesn't put a burden on other people. Now that don't bother me, but there's a lot of people in the world that would put a burden on their day. There's a lot of people in the world that would make them feel a little down. Because maybe there's that deep hope that that family member would come around. I am beyond that. You're either good for me in my life or you're not. That's it. You know, I'm here to do what I'm going to do. I'm here to be while the people do my best to treat myself well and take care of anyone along the way. And not everyone's going to be like that, but I got my own shit taken care of. A lot of people do not. You know, a lot of people are better off. A lot of people are worse off. That person's definitely not better off.
That's very inspiring.
Good.
Yeah, man. I mean, when it comes down to it, we're living in like a fucking world now where people are just so jumbled up in the head.
They're oblivious.
Well, I mean, can you blame them though? Because there's just so much shit in your face now. You know what I mean? There's just so much crap between the television and the phones and just everything that it gets to the point where people are just losing their sense of humanity at this point. I mean, I think it's super important to understand when it's time to kind of get yourself away from somebody that has that type of energy, that negative energy that kind of just uses you based on what you can provide for them. I mean, I've had multiple situations in my life where I've been put in positions to where that's kind of happened, and I think you waste like a lot of your own time when you get caught up in something like that, in a relationship like that, because you're usually using your own financial resources, and you're going out of your... Go ahead.
And your own worst enemy in that situation, to directly tie into exactly what you're saying right now, your own worst enemy is usually your a little more than naive self. Your naive self before you learn the lesson, because you're in your imagination, in your head, you're thinking that reality is going one way. Okay, this is a normal, healthy relationship. This is going to be received in this fashion, and I will receive this in this fashion, and everything will be as expected. Everything will be as it should. And it's not, because that person actually doesn't give a shit, and that person is just taking things for granted, taking advantage, selfish, careless, and absolutely wasting your time. But you don't know that yet. So, like, in a way, with perception, you become your own worst enemy, because after those lessons are learned, you can smell that shit a mile away. You don't even give them the time of day. But keep going,
Yeah, I mean, the common theme that I always found with somebody who was basically looking to do that type of thing is usually, like, for the first, at least in my experience, for like the first 6 months of knowing the person, they're usually super over the top and super, like, nice and go out of their way for you. And then what happens is it starts to kind of you if you're a good person, you'll compensate for that, right? Because I give exactly, I give to others what I get from others. And so if somebody else is going to give me all of this, then I'm going to give all of that, you know what I mean? So, but then it happens when it's like them at first on the scale doing all this stuff, and then you're like, okay, I'll match it. And then what happens is, yoink, and then you're like, yo, what's good? Like, can I get a ride, bro? My shit broke down on the side of the road. No, dude, I can't. Like, and I don't know,
the perception there, dude. The perception there is when people are working with intentions like that, they will subconsciously work their way to a point where they believe that you believe what they want you to believe.
Right.
And I know it sounds like a jumble, but I know you get it. They want you to believe that, they're trustworthy. They want you to believe that they're there for you. They want you to believe that they got your back. And they'll really work their asses off to make sure that they convince you that. And once they convince you that, then they can back down, then they can stop with the overhyped energy instead of that subtle consistency that you usually see in the adult world, where, like, all with, like, little gestures and stuff, like, take care of you and you'll take care of me, and we'll just kind of give back and forth, trade blows, and everything's great. They'll start off exactly like you said, overhyped, way over the top, like really fucking really banging it out. And then once they see that you trust them, and they see that you believe they are the person that they want you to see, that's when they give up on that character. They think that their job is done, and they go back to their true selves, that don't give a fuck, that are lazy,
and for some reason are very entitled to things from you. It's like why do they expect so yeah, exactly,
by all that work they put in, fucking doing little things that are normal things that people do for each other, that they thought was such a big deal, because they don't do that for people because they don't actually fucking care. Like people like you and me, gestures of showing people that we give a shit, or like taking care of people, like making someone a meal. It's a normal thing to us, but for them, it's such a big fucking deal that needs to be rewarded. It needs to be appreciated. You know what I mean? That they deserve more, but they don't, because they do less.
Right.
And they idiots.
Yeah.
But yeah, the rule of thumb here is toxic people and toxic family. You do not, listen here, sister, listen here, brother. You do not need to hold someone to your hip or to your heart just because you guys share blood. I know a lot of people in my life where they're more family than family's ever been. A lot of people. You know what I mean? Like my buddy Corey. We've really disconnected a lot since we were teenagers. But while we were teenagers, I had numerous blood siblings. But growing up, he was more of a brother to me than any of my brothers. So on and so forth. That's just a prime example. We don't need to keep toxic family close. We don't need to keep unhealthy family close. It does not matter who they are in your life. If they are not good for you, sure, you can talk to them about it if you think there's some value in the relationship and you don't want to just disconnect. But if you don't think there is, or if you know in your head, whether it's deep down or right there, that they are going to be so impossible to change because it's so deep rooted, it's literally embedded into their fucking programming, you gotta know when to just let them go and get to the point where, you know, we could live 60 to 100 years. Just get to the point where we're consistently working on, you know, not building like we're building a house or a business. You know, I feel that along the way in life, you will meet so many people, so many friends who could be family, so many friends who could be friends, and so many friends who would be a waste of time. And over time, we let go the bad and we take on the good, you know, and with a healthy perception, you hit a certain point where you've got a healthy, consistent social life, you know, and you got your friends, you got your family, you got your friends that are like family, and all the bullshit's pretty much gone. Unless you like drama. If you're the kind of person that likes drama, good fucking luck. Your life will always be that way. Your life will always be difficult. Socializing with people is always going to be difficult. Being emotional is going to be a daily part of your life, you know. But if you like being a little more laid back and you like more of a stable social life and social atmosphere with your relationships, then yeah, don't be afraid to cut ties with the bad. Just let them go and open the door for the good.
Today is a very serious day. A very non-poop day. We can change that, though, very easily, I'm sure.
Yeah, we can! I'm not wearing any underwear! Yo, I'd be a good pirate right now with the facial hair.
Oh, let me go grab me club foot. I'll beat you with it.
So the next topic at hand is social media. Social media has been such a huge part of our lives, and we're so used to it that it's like, yeah, it is, whatever, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, you know. But seriously, there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons. Like back in the day, I mean, we were growing up in this time still. We're gonna go like, we'll focus at the 90s because it's the pivot between like the 80s and the 2000s. The 90s. Back in the day where like the furthest you could go for advertising was like, and don't forget to tune into 103.7.
The Rock.
Look at music. The Rock. Yeah, except like when all you had was TV, radio, you know, and billboards, signs, you know, and that was, you had to drive by the billboard to see the billboard, or someone would be like, hey, you see that billboard down on there? And you'd be like, you'd be like, well, it's a good one, you better look at it. And then you go look, you drive by and you look at it, oh, look at that, I'll have to go there, get myself a table. I need me a new table for my guns, you know. And now with social media, you can literally, in probably an hour's time, you could have Shaquille O'Neal try your new shoes on that you made in your, you know, sweatshop of a condo, and be like, yo, I love this shit. This shit is great, you know. And then all he has to do is go on Snapchat or Instagram or Facebook Live and say, these are awesome. Tag himself through his page, and in an hour, millions of people can see it.
Yeah.
And in 2 weeks, your sales could be so fucking high. Look at Bad Baby, or like, look at him. The social media and the ability to go viral, you know. And there's a lot of people who are out there like, yeah, let me jump in front of that fucking car so I can go viral and become famous. It's all about fame. But what do they want it for? To feel good and to feel important.
Yeah.
Fucking bullshit. But that's it. The power of social media is huge. I think it's underrated, personally. Yeah. I really do. Because,
well, you see how many Instagrammers and like Snapchatters and just all of the TikTokers get like brand deals now just for having Instagram and
views.
All that, yeah, just basically having follows on these social media accounts. It's pretty crazy that people are just becoming but it's like, it's not good at the same time, because if you really think about it, it sets the tone for the youth to want to excel at something like that, which is
people seeing everything that they're doing as much as possible and just getting attention.
Exactly. And when it comes down to it, when they grow up and it's time to pay bills, not all of them are going to be able to get to that level where they're making full-time income from Instagram. Like, they need to know real life skills and stuff.
Yeah.
And when I just think it's developing a very like toxic young culture. Like, there's so many things that these kids are doing today that when I was their age, like, and we're not far apart, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not much older than these kids.
We're just far enough away to the point where we still have our integrity and we still have a healthy structure inside ourselves.
Right.
Like the very edge of the 80s kids.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I was 94. So
I was 93.
I was born, I think I was born in like one of the perfect years to be born, because I got to see what it was and everything else, you know?
Exactly. I completely agree. I hate when people try to, not hate, I actually don't really give a shit, but it is disappointing when people try to use millennial for someone my age in a condescending tone, because they really don't understand that someone who's just around the age of 30 right now, someone who was born in the early 90s or even mid 90s, exactly, got to watch us go from the era shift of like exactly the 80s to the early 2000s. You know, from non-fuel injected cars, which a lot of them still were at that time, no social media, cell phones were very expensive.
Barely any computers.
Only your dad had one. We had a lot of computers, but not like we do now. We had that computer in the house that, you know, you would dial up on to go on to the internet to find a news article or something, or go on AOL to chat with somebody. But even AOL, that started later on.
You had to like pay for your minutes on AOL back then, dude.
Yes. Yeah, and that's it. All life was going outside, doing things. I had a Game Boy. You know, the game systems we had were still like Sega Saturn, Super NES, all that crap.
I had a
really
Sega Genesis. That was my first.
Genesis. Yeah, is that the Genesis, the one with the screen on the controller?
No.
Or no, the Genesis is the black one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good shit. Genesis, most famous game for Genesis, Sonic.
Yeah, probably.
For sure.
I would say
and
so.
Just watching things go from life being super minimal to, dude, I grew up climbing fucking trees. I grew up scraping fucking my you know, busting my fucking arms, busting my knees. I grew up going out and fucking playing in dirt and having a good time and not giving a shit. You know what I mean? Like, we still had more than, say, like, obviously a boomer had. We still had more than, you know, someone who was 10 years or 20 years older had. But the progression in everything from the early 90s to now has been fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Like, this, I can do everything on this. I could make a movie on this. I could create a music on this. I could call someone anywhere in the world on this. I could play some of the most graphically intense video games on this. I could access my personal computer at home from anywhere in the world on this. This fucking cell phone is incredible. Now, it's abused by us humans every day because it's far too convenient for us to subconsciously just pick it up and scroll, and pick it up and scroll. But it's still incredible, you know? And like, our generation, people really don't understand. They think that we just fucking had everything handed to us. I still got my ass absolutely fucking beat, you know? I still absolutely got the hand, the fist, the spatula, fucking...
The hot sauce in the mouth, the soap in the mouth.
I wish it was hot sauce in the mouth. I definitely had soap, for sure. No, my dad would feed us hot sauce because he thought it was hilarious. It wasn't really a punishment. He'd be like, try this, and we'd try it, and I'd be like, I'm fucking dying. Help me. But yeah, no, we got to watch it all, but we still have decent values. I don't give a fuck about attention. You know, like I'm just old enough to the point where I'm humble as fuck when it comes to all that stupid shit. I don't care. I don't want to go on TikTok and get 1,000,000 views. If anything, I'll call you up and I'll tell you the joke that I just thought of.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you'd be like, it's funny. Who's in my fart? You know? It's more me than you, but whatever. It's the thing we got going. But we also are young enough to be able to utilize this technology to its maximum ability.
Yeah.
You know, so we still have the values of people who had to work for it and the intelligence to know how to keep up with the times. So I feel like that we have a real big advantage.
Yeah.
Being right around this age.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it puts us in a very unique spot because there's a lot. I feel like could you imagine 30 years, dude, if the kids that were doing TikTok, like, say something real bad happens and we need like a complete reset and we got to go back to the old days where everybody's like building their own log cabin and going out and hunting their own wild boar. And
oh, there would be a lot of rivers everywhere. There would be rivers, literally the entire earth. You remember the movie Waterworld? Dry land is not a myth. I've seen it.
I don't think so.
The entire fucking earth would be submersed in this immense pool of tears because little bitches can't fucking build shit themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. That's one thing that I definitely don't have in common with them. I'm very, very resourceful. And I've always had to work very hard for everything that I've ever had. Never had anything handed to me for, you know, for really anything.
Yeah, I hear you. I had a little help with my first vehicle, you know, and I had some support along the way through some struggles that I've gone through. But in terms of like the brunt of the lessons and the actual labor of the hard work, oh yeah, I earned it. I earned my way right here. To be right here, wasting my time slowly pooping my pants, hanging out with you. There's poop. We made his way in again.
We made it. Mama, we're here.
And life has just begun. And so you could turn on. But yeah, so so to be specific, now social media, that was a little brush up on some conversation with social media, which, as we were saying, it could be awesome. It can be awesome if used properly, but it's utilized improperly, i.e. attention for this fake level of fucking self-esteem and confidence. And number one example being applications like TikTok. Oh, we want TikTok. So TikTok, I thoroughly enjoy going on TikTok and seeing this one dude.
That's all Jordan does anymore is go on
He's got
TikTok.
a ginger beard because it's hilarious. There's a lot of funny shit. There is, and it's like, oh, that's great. Oh, that's great. You're like, that's stupid. You should probably just like stop. You know what I mean? But then there's a lot of underage. So like, there's a lot of underage chicks shaking their asses around on camera, and it's going out to millions of people. Like, the good is it can be awesome to like have a shitty day, open up your handheld cellular device and be like, ha 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 ha. I laugh just like that all the time. And, you know, humor yourself, alleviate some of the stress of the day, look at some memes. It's fucking awesome. But then there's these girls out there who think that there is an important sense of value, whether it be mental, emotional, physical, or moral, whatever, an important sense of value to be had and a need to be famous. And that value to be had from getting views, from getting attention from social media. And that should not be the case. It absolutely should not be the case. You know, every single time, let's say 7 out of 10 times, I swipe and one of those videos comes up, it's in the caption I see, you know, please make me famous or something stupid like that. And it's just like, God, like, this is not right. Because the worst part is, if this kid's got famous, all they would do is continue to shake their ass and become more advanced at shaking their ass and get paid from it from advertisers and think that that's a fucking sustainable way of living.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Whether it may be financially viable or not, great. But if they took away their cell phone, they'd have no career. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's like, how do you feel good about yourself when you grow up? And that's like, I don't know. I don't want to like throw a whole bunch of people that like do that type of stuff for work under the bus, but it's just like, don't you want to feel like proud of what you do? And I mean, like, I guess some people could feel proud about that, but like, I think that's a huge problem that we have in today's society, is like, just sex in and of itself is just so thrown in your face, in your kid's face, on television, radio, just it's everywhere. In every fucking Netflix movie now, that's all that you fucking see is just sex and like all of that shit. And it's like, I'm not sitting here like hating on it. Like, I have just as much as the next guy that's got a fucking significant other, you know what I mean? But it's like, I don't need to go out and fucking tell everybody about it. I don't need to go and fucking post
flash your balls on
pictures of my cock and balls to everybody and be like, ooh, look at my shit, everybody. Like, I'm not that fucking important. And when it comes down to it, what me and Jordan do in the bedroom is between me and fucking Jordan, because that's like something that we have special because we're in a fucking relationship, and that's like what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be like, yo, everybody look at my fucking ass, yeah.
It's not supposed to be like, look what my girl can do, she better than yours.
Like, I don't fucking get the shit, dude. Like, what it really is like a psychological disease. It really is, because they have to have something in their heads that's like, I need attention, I need fucking attention.
People have lost the value. A lot of people out there don't have the value, the actual value of what some might call privacy. Privacy. Everything related to you and your sex life, in one aspect or another, should have a consistency within privacy. You know what I mean? Exactly what you just said. It should, everything between you and your significant other.
And I guarantee you that there's going to be a bunch of people that go and say something along the lines of, well, they can do whatever they want because it's a free country and the website says that it's fine, so just let them do it. And it's just like, you're part of the fucking problem. You really are. Like, you don't understand what like it is that I'm actually trying to fucking get across here. It's like, you're not supposed to be doing that type of shit. That's what's ruined, like, relationships. That's why people have so many fucking trust issues now. That's why we have shows like Teen Mom and Teen Mom 2 where there's 16 and 15-year-olds having children. I was watching something the other day where this kid was being interviewed, and he was a 19-year-old who has a 3-year-old kid, which means he would have had to have conceived the child at 15 years of age. You know what I was doing when I was 15, dude? I was fucking... I don't even know if I was, like, fucking jerking my little peen at that point. I'm sure, yeah. Actually,
I was jerking your
15, I probably was. But it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, and then there's kids like out here having babies at that age. I'm like,
it's so ridiculous.
I'm not going to tell you to live your life, but don't look at me with 10 heads when you're like, oh my God, it's so hard to survive in America. I can't afford anything. I can't afford an apartment. I can't afford. Well, it's like, maybe you shouldn't have had a fucking kid at 15 years of age. But some of them, I get, it's like, they're abused and all of that.
That reflects right back to roots. At that point, at 15 years old, you're barely a fucking seed. You know what I mean? You're
a baby, and you're gonna have a fucking kid? Like, how are you gonna provide for that thing? Like, what the fuck did your parents teach you that's what you're going around and doing? Like, I don't get it.
Well, you and I believe that people should have offspring and people should raise healthy families, but people should not duplicate. Babies should not have babies.
No, because then you're gonna start this endless cycle of poverty in your family.
And look at the world and the way it's gone. All I have to say is this. Take one good drive around the beautiful town of Newton, New Jersey.
Well, we won't go into
There's a lot of diversity.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of action going on in a younger crowd.
Yeah, absolutely. It's because the kids are bored because they're not doing anything.
Walking around with strollers with 2 babies in them. You know?
That's because...
There's a lot of interracial couples in Newton, too. I just gotta say that.
I feel like now it's like, oh, I just need to find somebody that I can watch Netflix and memes with, and we can just live in a shitty apartment. We don't have to actually strive for anything because we'll just live vicariously through these people that post these terrible...
And that'll be our happiness.
Yeah. We'll live off the government.
Here's the thing that older generations don't seem to really understand is there is a generation of people around your and my age. We'll say like a category of people around your and my age that judge younger people just as much as them. Just as much as them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if not more, because we're more into the details of it. We're more into the brunt of it. And they're kind of on the outside in their own lives doing their own thing. And we see this happen all the time, all around us. And it's like, what the fuck? I'm at the point where my patience is so over-exercised, overused, and over-abused by myself. Given you know, the human race chances, given the human race people within the time of the day, that I have no patience whatsoever, none, for anyone who isn't fucking on top of their own shit, anyone who isn't rational and understands the relevancy of what we're talking about right now, and people who don't understand what the fuck is going on with people and in the world. What I call that group of people the general population. The people who succumb to all of the people who something goes live on the news and that becomes their train of thought. The people who a new application comes out and they just want to get famous on it. They want to do better than the next person on it. The people who succumb to all the stupid fucking like little social bylaws that people that people in technology have written up for the social atmosphere of the younger crowd of today. Those people. Fuck them. Like, fuck them. I've gotten to the point personally where I've just I've disconnected myself and I'm just like, ooh, just keep y'all over there if you smell and look like one. Later. You know what I mean?
So I think there's a breed of people that are good at something, and so they go and make social media accounts, and that complements what they do. And then people go home and watch that, and instead of getting good at whatever it is that they're doing, they just try to emulate the social media part of it. But the problem with that is the content that they provide is fucking garbage because they didn't take any time to actually...
Like us.
Well, yeah, basically, because we didn't take any time to get good at podcasting. We were just like, fuck it, dude, let's start a podcast and see what happens. And that's exactly what it is. It's like every time we try to do this, like, it's not perfect by any means, but we have to do it in order to learn. We have to do it in order to get better. And if we don't practice it, we're never going to get any better, but at least we're trying. Like, these kids, they don't take the time to go learn something that's actually worth putting on social media. They're just trying to develop whatever bullshit content they can, and now it's so oversaturated on YouTube. It's so difficult to get discovered on YouTube and all these other social media platforms now. These kids are just flooding it with whatever they can possibly think of, and usually it's stupid. You know, because they're just sitting there like, oh, what could I come up with for my my post today? Because I have to post today, or the algorithm isn't gonna give me as many likes and follows. You know.
So, the title for that exact thread of thoughts right there is "Fuck all of your desires for instant gratification and put some goddamn work in." That's it. Because that's what they want. They want instant gratification. They want to do something that makes them famous or get 1 million
They
views.
want to do a little fucking dance, and then all of a sudden I want $1 million. Well, that kid's a little bit different because at least he had some talent behind what he did,
yeah.
and then he took that, went on a bunch of concert tours with a bunch of famous musicians, and then went on and is continuing to do music at his age. Like, that kid's set. He's got a fucking
awesome.
career. You know what I mean? But like, he had a reason that he blew up. Like, there's some kids that just blow up on TikTok because they're just stupid, you know what I mean? And then it's like, when it comes down to like actual content, like, what else are you gonna provide besides these little 15-second videos of you just being stupid today? What other value can you contribute? Can you make a 10-minute long video? Can you make a 15-minute long video and still grasp the attention of everybody watching? Or do you get boring when it's not 15 seconds of the funniest thing you did all day?
What if it almost sounds like we need to start becoming more like China? You know, firmly, I see clearly, and I think you do too, that there is a serious significance to the prime years of a human's life. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the first few years of a dog's life really do have an effect on the rest of its life. If a dog grows up in a house where there's another dog and all it does is bark, that dog, because it was a baby, is probably going to bark a lot. It's not always guaranteed, but this is just a reference, an analogy. You know, and then that dog gets older, maybe the older dog passes away, and that younger dog still barks a lot. There's a knock at the door, bark, 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 which, yes, is normal for a dog, but this is more than usual in this analogy. Kids should really be severely limited with social media usage, internet usage, cell phone usage, electronic usage, until they hit a certain age. And they should really have to put in, by their parents, a decent amount of time, work, and effort before they're allowed or able to use it. You know, because social media should be a secondary item to us. Cell phones should be a secondary item to us. They should not be our primary. They should not be our bloodline. They should not be second to the oxygen that we breathe and the breaths that we take all goddamn day. So, like, while kids are growing up, I see you have a thought. I'm going to try to wrap this up real fast. So, like, while kids are growing up in those prime ages, all this social media shit is just teaching them the wrong things. It's teaching them that values that aren't actual real world values are values. So on and so forth. Go ahead.
It's never going to happen, though.
No, I know, but that's like the break.
I think we're done like with all of that, because now it's standard for your child to have a cell phone at 7 years of age, because they go to school, a public school, which you don't know what's going to happen. And yeah, God forbid something happens, my kid has to have a phone, which we get. But there's a big difference between the cell phone that I first got when I was like 13 or 14 years of age, which flipped open, and the only thing that I could really do that was fucking around on it was play like Sims, like this terrible version of The Sims. You
had a very different phone than me. I actually started with a Nokia. An old, like, the only thing we had was Snake.
Trying to think of what I had. It was a Verizon phone.
Screen. It was flat, and you had to pay for minutes.
It was a terrible Verizon phone, but I could not see what all of today's youth is exposed to on that phone. But now there's no such thing as, you know, a mom getting her 7-year-old a flip phone. Mom, I can't have a fucking flip phone. I'm going to look like a goddamn dinosaur. All the kids are going to make fun of me. Like,
schools should not allow cell phone usage, period. And I don't give a fuck what kind of excuses people try to come up with. We did just fucking fine having to be called to the office for an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Call them to the call the school, call them to the office. The only reason a parent says my kid has to have their cell phone on them at the school in case of an emergency, right? And I know there's a lot of little situations where people will try to argue this big time, but like I said, we did fine. Is if the kid says, no, I'm not, fuck that, I'm not going to that school if I can't have my cell phone on me, and then the mom goes, let me call that principal, and calls mom and goes, I need that kid to have a blah, 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 in case of an emergency. Need, blah, 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 blah. It's the fucking kid control. It's the kid parenting himself. It's the kid controlling the mom. You know what I mean? Because any reasonable fucking parent should know that these kids should not have a cell phone on them at all times. You know, it's I'm sure it's taking away from people. I bet if we took away cell phones, test scores would be fucking higher. Academics would overall be better. People would overall just do better. And if we started teaching kids in school to not use cell phones so much and pay attention to your fucking life, pay attention to what's in front of you, and we got them away from the instant gratification of today's cell phone usage in the younger crowds, then maybe it would actually change a little bit of the curve of their future and their focus and what satisfies them in life.
I don't think that's the agenda at hand, though. I think it's more about teaching them at a young age to keep their eyes on the screen, because moving forward, I mean, look at what's happening right now. All of these businesses that are going belly up because of the coronavirus. It's like a lot of the jobs that we're seeing, you know, moving forward are very technology based. So now with these kids, who's to say that, you know, when our kids get to be 30 or 40 years old, they're not working 16-hour days in front of a screen, and that's the new norm at that point. You know what I mean? It's sad to think about.
Just sad, yeah, it is.
Because
heartbreaking.
Their whole life is going to pass them by because they're just spending time watching other things instead of creating their own set of memories. And then you never really develop yourself as a person if you never go out and experience the world, your own little version of it, you know?
You're never able to close your eyes and feel your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I have tons of memories that if I closed my eyes right now, I could picture in my head who I was there with, how we sounded. Yeah, I remember the day that I walked into KFC and saw you behind the fucking counter.
What?
You remember that?
No way. I think I do. But now that you brought it up,
recommended the honey sauce to me.
I did.
And I got the honey sauce, and it was really dank, actually. And now I do eat my chicken with honey pretty often now.
Once a fat kid, always a fat kid, boy.
Yep.
Now you got to tell the story, though, now that you brought it up.
There's not really much to tell other than that. I walked into KFC. I hadn't seen you in years, and didn't expect.
Did I do that thing that I do where like I recognize everybody? Where I was like, I know you, right? Did we go to school together?
I think so, something like that.
And you were like, Miriam, or no? What'd you say? You would have said.
I feel like you kind of knew who I was right from the get-go, though.
I think I did. Dude, for some odd reason, throughout my whole life since I've known you, I've just had like a strong sense of just a strong sense for you. Like I just remembered you so fucking easily, a lot easier than I'd remember other people, and I've always had a bad memory of people.
You ever have like a situation where you're in a grocery store and you see somebody that you know, but you don't like go up to them and like start a conversation because you're like, it's been a while, like I don't know how they would like, you know, interpret the situation. I don't want them to think I'm fucking weird or.
Well, nothing's worse than the fucking than the conversation that nobody wants to have. Nobody, anyone that goes into like a shop, right? Anyone that goes food shopping and sees someone that they haven't seen since high school, nobody wants to have that conversation. Nobody wants to be like, "Hey, how you been? Oh, I'm great. We gotta catch up. Maybe go out for drinks sometime. I don't know. Oh, you got a kid? That's crazy. My career's booming. Sorry you got laid off." Like, nobody wants to go through all their shit and play catch up because we don't fucking care. It's a part of a different life.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to go through it.
But it's a shame, dude. Like, if somebody from my high school came up to me and they were like, "Yo, what's up, man? I haven't seen you in forever." I'm not going to be like, "Get the fuck out of here."
I would be happy.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
it has to be someone you liked and you guys had like,
I guess so, yeah. Yeah, for sure. But like, even if it wasn't somebody that I like was like super best friends with or something, you know, just somebody that I casually knew in high school that I wasn't like, obviously if it was somebody I did not like, I wouldn't fucking go out of my way, but somebody just that I casually knew, I would probably go out of my way to just say, "Hey, what's going on? Like, nice to see you. Nice to see you're still fucking alive. Nice to see."
Guess who I saw the other day?
Who's that?
Kevin Pettinger.
Oh, really? How's he doing?
Yeah, we were just talking about him. Good. I forgot he was a lot shorter than me. For some reason, I thought he was my height. Just a random fact. But I saw him, and he looked healthy as ever. You know, he's always been a healthy dude. Seemed like he was doing pretty good. Had like a decent, quick conversation with him. We talked about motorcycles for like 5 seconds. I think he works at a fire department. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm. Sounds right.
Yeah, that would be Branchville Fire Department, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, but he seemed like he was doing well, man. And I asked the generic question. I do this all the time to people I went to high school with. I'm like, "So, you married?" They're like, "Nope." And I'm like, "All right, good. You have kids?" "Nope." "All right, you're still doing good, man." Like, I just like play around with them. It's almost like a boomer question. Like, "You dumbass married yet? Don't fucking do it."
Yeah.
You know, but I want them to be happy if they did get married, whatever.
Right.
Just find it home. To be like, "So, did you make the bad decision? Did you perform the ritual of regret?"
Right.
Because like so many kids that we went to high school with had shitty marriages. Like they got married to people they shouldn't have got married to, or they had a fucking baby. You know what I mean? Or they had like 2 babies since. And it's like, what?
It's those
I always find it.
those kids we were talking about, dude, that are like, oh, I gotta have a kid at 16, 17 years of age. It's like, you got your whole fucking life. Slow your roll.
I always find it so crazy. Like, why do I feel like you're probably the same way? You know what? I'm gonna assume for this conversation you're the same way as me when it comes to this, right? Why do all these kids I went to high school with not think this way? And it's, we should build our own lives to the point of like definite sustainability, build ourselves up until we're ready to create a family. It's expensive, it's demanding, it's
Yep.
Why do these people who have no careers, no fucking pot to piss in, nothing to back themselves up with, if their baby goes, oh, I'm gonna file for bankruptcy, like, I don't know. But like, they've got nothing, dude. All they have is, oh yeah, you know, it just happened and I love her, so yeah, okay. Like, I don't care if that fucking kid grows up to fucking care all the best things in the world. The principle, that would be controversial as fuck. The principle is, you know, to be responsible. That if you start your family responsibly, at the very least, you are going to have a responsible family. If you start your family because you fucked the shit out of this chick in high school in the back of a bang bus, and she called you the next morning asking for plan B, but you spent all that money on fucking weed, there's a good chance that that kid's gonna grow up and either be addicted to crack, an alcoholic,
And probably do the same thing that you did.
Yeah, they're gonna be that reckless chain, that reckless action will most likely start a reckless chain, because now you're this underdeveloped, youthful kid who's not at a point in their life where this is a reasonable thing. It's more traumatic. It's more of a traumatic change and a major change that will have effects on you than it is a big change in your life that you're in control of. Because when you're an adult with a sustained life and a career and income and a relationship and a home, you've got a life and a platform built, and you build from there. You know, that's a normal part of the system moving forward. But when you're a kid who's got literally nothing and you live with mommy and daddy, and after you have the kid, you know, all you look forward to at the end of the week, because all you do is spend the week screaming at your baby to fucking stop crying because you don't want to put up with it, because, you know, you didn't want him to pull out. You know, all you can look forward to all week is your mom watching your kid on the weekend so you can go out and party. You're part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. I don't care how many people see this and they're like, fuck you, like, I love my family, blah, 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 blah. What do you want from me? If you ended up in the situation where we had a baby and you are now feeling like a victim in your own life, you're a fucking idiot. If you balance, I'm very, very big on balance. If you did get pregnant young, you are being responsible. You are building a career. You are working on that foundation. There's nothing wrong with that. There's not a thing wrong with that. But there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people out there who do it wrong, and it leads to a lot of bad consequences. And that just leads to just a whole web, a whole lifetime of just shit. You know, because exactly like you said, that kid's gonna end up getting someone knocked up the same way irresponsibly because they were just born into those values. You know?
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, and even still now, I felt like the appropriate age to have children was like 30.
32.
Like in 30 or in your 30s. And I don't even know, because I'm going to be 26 in a couple of days here. I couldn't imagine having a child in 4 years from now.
Yeah, dude, me too.
I'm barely getting it together for me, dude. Like, I gotta figure out. So I'm not gonna put this tremendous pressure on myself to have a child at the age of 30. But Once I reach the age of 30, I hope to be more established. I hope to have my own house that I'm at least, if don't have the entire thing paid off, I have a good chunk of the mortgage paid off so that there's no risk of us ever losing our house and now I have my child on the street. You know what I mean? I feel like people, it's that instant gratification, dude. That's exactly what it is. It's like, let me have the child first and worry about everything else later. Once the child is here, it's here. It's not going anywhere else. It's basically like you're cooking a soup or something and you're adding salt and you're like, fuck it, let me just dump all the salt in.
I'll pull all the salt out later.
Yeah, and then I'll just take whatever I don't need. It doesn't work that way, bro. Once you dump the whole thing in, you're done. So it's like,
there's a really massive unspoken point here, and it's the fact that you and I, and the perspective that it's very, very similar. It could be very well the same. The perspective that we share on this in our belief system when it comes to the responsibility of a family and of a child are not like a lot of people out there. You know what I mean? And like I believe that people should, just like you know, people should accept the responsibility of having a child as a huge pressure, as a huge change, as a huge life-altering circumstance that you are holding the reins for. You are in the driver's seat. You are going to guide this baby, literally, into its life, into its fucking childhood. Throughout its years, you were going to teach it right from wrong. You know, you were gonna learn that motherfucker this world and the ins and outs in people and life and situations and circumstances. A lot of people out there, they don't see it as that. They don't fucking care. We care. We look at a life that we could potentially have. Me, when I think about a life that I could share with someone, you know, say like when Kate and I go to have a baby, if I imagine us having a baby, it is huge.
Mm-hmm.
I feel this insane amount of emotion right in my chest. This rush. It's just big. It really is. It's such a huge change. It's such a, because you do not go back from that, and you will always be the number one effectee of how that life will go and what direction that life will go in.
Right.
And a lot of people, they don't fucking give a shit. They don't see that. They don't feel that. It's just, oh yeah, yo, whatever. I just gotta feed it from time to time. It's amazing how many people lack foresight. It really is. Oh, I just gotta feed it from time to time, and then I can play video games once it stops crying. Yeah, but what about its future? What about who that child's gonna be when they grow up? You know, what about that? What about the perception of that child and the way that their perceptions and the way that they handle problems in their future? What about the lessons that you've learned and how you could potentially transfer them to that child to help them have a better edge in their life? Oh wait, you're also probably the kind of person, or there's a chance you're the kind of person that does not go through life accepting all the bad decisions that you've done and the repercussions or the reactions, the consequences as valuable, absorbable lessons. And it's just another pity party and something crappy that happened to you. You know what I mean? There's such a different kind of breed. Like, we'll say like people like you and me, and people on the opposite end of the spectrum. People like you and me, we never stop, bro. We never get a break. We never give ourselves a break. We're always learning. We're always absorbing. And it fucking exhausts us. But we're always learning. We're always absorbing. And we always need to be better. Because if there's one thing in this world that we want to be better. We want to be better versions of ourselves. We want to always be growing. We want to always be evolving. And one day when we have a child, we'll sit the fuck down, because we have a lot to teach you.
Mm-hmm.
A lot to, and we know that there's going to be millions and millions of incredible opportunities to teach you all the things that I've learned that can help you, that can make your life better.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And on the opposite end of the spectrum, there's people that they don't feel that. They don't care. They don't have that, and they're never going to. You know?
But it also, a lot of it goes back to that book that I talked about, I don't know, a couple weeks ago with you, where it's like you don't know any different than what you were taught. So if your parents never taught you anything, you can't expect that person to go out and do anything different. It takes a very special chain, link in the chain, to kind of separate it and go into a different direction. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, I've always lived my life on like a lock and key kind of system where I could not do things unless I had unlocked the ability to do said thing. Like for me, first thing was getting a car, because you can't get a job, you can't do really anything without a car now. At least where we lived, you know, growing up, it was like 10 miles to get to anything. So as soon as I get the car, okay, now I need money in case the car fucks up. And that's all I worried about as a 16, 17-year-old kid, was just saving that money. God forbid something happened to my car. And then
I remember that thing, by the way, that black Camaro.
it was amazing. I love that thing, dude. And I sold it to a guy that was a collector, so I'm glad that I sold it to him, because he like fixed it up and put nice rims on it and like redid the
Really?
Yeah, he also had like a really cool old like Volkswagen van that he decked out. I'm pretty sure it was
That's
a Volkswagen van. But yeah, so it's like I've never just did something and was like, okay, like let me figure out how to make up for the action that I just took right there. I always had a debit mentality, if that made sense. I always had the cash to pay for whatever it was that I was gonna do. And when you're talking about something like having a kid, you might as well just swipe that credit card for like 50 grand right off the bat. Because there's so much shit that you're going to have to pay for. And if you are living your life to where you're used to not having to make a lot because you're just yourself and you only have to worry about yourself and you can provide for yourself with a couple $100 a month, so be it. Then don't have a child that's going to require food and diapers and wipes and eventually schooling and school supplies and just so many different. And I'm speaking, and I'm not even a friggin' parent, you know what I mean? So it's like, imagine if we had a parent on here that could actually tell you all of the actual little intricate things that they have to do every single day just because of that decision that they made.
We might be able to set up guest stars soon too.
Yeah.
I know some people who could really chime in, but didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's fine. And yeah, we should definitely do that. But I mean, people just need to start to think a little bit more about the consequences of their actions. There's not really any excuse for having a child at the age of like 16, you know,
and in this day and age,
there's just no reason for it. Like, I get like things happen and there's things beyond our control and whatever, but for the vast majority of kids that are just thinking that it's like a normal thing, it's absolutely not. And you're setting yourself and you're setting your future family up to like, if you're 16, even if you have your financials together, for whatever reason you're a pop star, right, and you have your own house and you got buco bucks and you did it smart, you got a financial advisor and you're investing in property and you're doing everything that a smart business person does, I still wouldn't have a kid at that age, because you have your own life to live as well. There's a period of 15 years you could take there and just learn about anything that you wanted. Anything. Like, if you want to go learn how to build your own house in the middle of the woods, you could learn how to do it. If you want to learn how to go be a professional fisherman, if you want to go take up dirt biking or professional ping pong or go travel, like, there's just so much to the world to experience. And you're not going to be able to do it if you're taking care of somebody else. And I'm not saying, like, don't reproduce. I'm just saying, make sure that you do both. Live your life.
And be conscious.
Yeah,
be conscious of the fact that, exactly what you said, if you are in a position where you have not yet gone out and lived your life and you create a life, you're not going to be able to afford going out and living your life. Therefore, you're going to reproduce, you know, in a situation where that kid won't know to go and experience life. They'll have a sheltered life because you know, finances were tight and you were broke and all you did was bust your ass to get by, and that's all they ever knew, you know. And
you also
this
want to
entire
provide more for
conversation-
your kid than you had, you know?
Yeah. And you want to experience as much as possible so you can share that and the knowledge of that and the how-to with that kid too. You know, people really undervalue, not even undervalue, because you'd have to give it recognition. People do not give the foundation of a family, the foundation of a child's life, enough value. Because it's the single most important part of any kid's life. You know, I'm not going to say anything good or bad about, you know, me growing up in reference to the conversation, but I will say that I got lucky in the sense that I was more or less I went to a therapist once, and I told him all this, and the way that he explained it sounds really tacky and cliche, and it even sounds egotistical, but it's not. But he called me the diamond in the rough, and it was because I, you know, grew up with you know, a bunch of A's, and those A's reflected, you know, that onto, projected that onto, you know, their children, their little sprouts. But I was a B, always. I always saw things differently. I always really thought things through. I always took a step back, and I always really tried to figure everything out. And I always tried to, you know, like, if I did something wrong and I got beat for it, I tried to figure out what I did wrong, so I didn't have to have that happen again, you know, which is normal. But if I really, you know, had a bad instance or bad memory or something happened to me that I really wish didn't happen to me, then I was the kind of person to learn from it and make sure it doesn't happen again. If someone treated someone poorly, or someone had a bad day and they came home and they were in a bad mood and would say things, you know, to their significant other that wasn't the most pleasant, I was the kind of person who would read that and be like, okay, I'm going to love my partner in the future. Okay, I'm not going to bring my shit home in the future. Okay, I'm going to come home, and no matter how my day was, I'm going to greet that person with a kiss or a hi and a smile or any kind of positivity. You know, like the kind of person to learn from what I saw and perceived on my own, and not just become a product of my environment. But most people, and almost everyone I've ever met in my life, don't have that.
There's a certain switch, and I'm convinced that that's what it is, because you can see it in other people. The people that have that switch in their head are attracted to other people who also have that switch. And when you don't have that switch, I don't want to say that we can't really, like, fuck with you. We can, but we just will never be on that same wavelength.
Because you're always just going to be a product of your environment in your life. I want my life to be a product of my effort and my hard work. I don't want to be a product of my life. I don't want to be a product of,
and who knows if that switch exists in the
Trump.
ability the ability to, I guess, outgrow people. Because you find that there's some people that can't just move on from, like, you know what I mean? Like, some people grow up to be the wisest 65-year-old people I've ever had the pleasure of talking to. And then you talk to other 65-year-olds that sound like they're still fucking 18 years of age.
20 years old. Exactly, dude. Exactly. There's those people that their intelligence and their minds take a step above,
and it all runs deep into the roots of what they learned when they were, you know, at that age.
And it really is a matter of a massive matter of perception, you know, because, you know, you could take 2 people, you could take 10 people and put them through, you know, a specific situation, and 9 of those people saw something bad, absorbed that bad, and will now project that bad onto someone else, or just become a part of that instance, that memory in that situation. And then that 10th person at the very end sees that bad, understands that that person created that bad because they went through something, they absorbed that, and they see that there is always a chain. There's always, bad things do not generate themselves. Trauma reproduces. Trauma is just a set chain of reproduction. Something bad happened a long ass time ago, and somehow it linked all the way to the bad things that we've experienced. So we'll use the example that I was just mentioning. So the adult, let's say an adult abuses 10 people. That adult was abused. That adult didn't have someone to talk to them about their feelings. That adult did not even that you had to talk to them about your feelings, but that adult didn't have someone who talked to them and cared for their health overall, and just had a piss poor life, was very unhappy, drank too much, and just came home. And if you made too much noise, I'd fucking beat you. And 9 of those kids now have violent tendencies. 9 of those kids, their parent got handsy with them, and now they're handsy people. Maybe end up in a relationship with their handsy. And then there's, potential for that one kid who can really see what's going on, who can really read the functions, who can really analyze the situation and see he was abused, he was neglected. Now these kids are abused and these kids are neglected. And I'm being subjected to that as well, but I'm fine. Because I understand. There's something bigger going on here. You know what I mean? And we'll be able to really pull that apart, pull the lessons from it, and be like, okay, if that person was cared for, they would not be abusing right now and neglecting us. So that's all I gotta do. I gotta absorb this. I gotta take the pain. I gotta take the beating. I gotta endure all this and allow it to build into that emotional system inside myself, that emotional bank of strength behind the passion of the fact that I don't want my children to be subjected to this, or I don't want other people to be subjected to this. Just like the guy walking in the store and, hey, fuck you, you fat bitch, and then she goes, well, fuck you, you dirty, rotten asshole. And someone next to her goes, fuck you for yelling so loud. And then one guy steps aside and goes, hey, everybody, I'm sure everyone's having a tough day. Let's just take a second. Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
fuck you, you piece of shit.
Yeah. and everyone, you know what? Here, I just pulled out the 6-pack of straight Everclear. Let's just fucking chug a gallon each. No, but like, always going to be that general population of people who become, and it's not even, I'm not going to say their own fault, but unfortunately it is a lot of times I want to say a lack of a gift, or the switch, we'll just say the switch, because it gets rid of any.
I think it is a switch, because I do believe that if you work with somebody, it can be flipped.
You either see what's going on, or you have no idea and you just become. You either become a product of your environment, or you're able to really see what's going on and learn from it. There's the people who learn to do it, there's the people that learn from it. That was, in my opinion, one of the best topics we've ever covered. That was fucking good. You're gonna spend a lot of time trying to pick that.
Yeah, boy, you gonna pick that.
Yeah, boy. Damn, dude, I could talk about that all day, and I know you could too, but maybe we'll brush up on it at another time, right? Can we just briefly talk about how amazing it is that people can use VR now to do architecture work, to perform augmented reality surgery, like virtual reality surgery, not augmented, but they can put a VR headset on and they can learn how to work on the organs and intestines of a human. They can put a headset on and design a car. They can put a headset on and play The Sims. They can put a headset on and build a house, build a working physical, working virtual rendition of, a project that could be worth $10 million, and then print out the blueprint. Let's make it. It's crazy that the fact that you can, in incredible detail, you can. The music stopped. Put a headset on, grab a couple controllers, and immerse yourself into another world.
Could you imagine?
Please say it. Please say it.
Could you imagine a 3D printer that's big enough to print entire houses?
No, I thought it was going to be sexual.
No.
That'd be pretty cool, though, man.
Just incredibly groundbreaking. Elon Musk, before you do it, I'd like to have a chat.
You heard it here first, bitch.
I just need a seat on the board of advisors. That's all I ask. I bought Tesla stock when it was in the 260s, so please. Thank you.
I want a piece of this too. Come on, fuck you.
Yeah, he can come too.
Hey guys, we got you coffee.
Yeah, that would be pretty nutty.
Kate's dad just sent me a picture in the email. Oh, yes. Hey, honey. I got a blackmail photo. Your dad sent it to me.
That's good. Sounds like the start of every porno.
Oh, I just got an email from Honey Nastusha. Aloha. I hope, comma, you well yourself feel, question mark?
You help yourself will feel? Question mark?
I would like better to find out each other. I search stable for relations and networks. My name is Anastasia. I cheerful and sociable the woman. I conduct a healthy way of life. I do not smoke and I do not use alcoholic drinks. And I hate boring people. I'm just kidding. I love to be engaged in sports. I hope eating is a sport to you. If not against throughout ours dialogue, I wait from you for the letter. If you want, I can to write to you more about myself. I never had the husband, and I do not have the kinder.
The kinder?
Let's go conceive a kinder, baby! Please.
Oh, that's what they meant.
Comma. Yeah. Please, comma. Write to me more information on. Period. I want to fasten acquaintance with you and to find out you better. Are you threatening me?
Is this somebody from, like, Nigeria?
It's Humes, VKOOR.
Is this on Facebook or, like, your email?
No, this is an email. Check this out. If you have possibility, comma, please, comma, send me a photo.
Whoa.
And after, I will send to you mine a photo.
Oh my god.
Period. Lowercase w. With impatience, I wait for the reciprocal letter with huge impatience. Dude, the impatience is so huge, dude.
Did they actually write that?
Good pastime, Anastasia. I'll send it to you.
Huge impatience?
It's even funnier when you read it.
Wow.
Huge impatience. Desktop.
Huge impatience. I'll wait for you with huge impatience.
No, you won't.
So you're gonna send a pic, right?
Of my balls, maybe. No, what I do is if I do ever respond to them, I will respond with I'll find like a Google picture of like a big fat dude with a huge fucking bulge. You know what I mean? Wearing like swimming trunks.
Catfishing people from Nigeria that are trying to catfish us.
Right? Yeah, read that anytime you like. That's a good one, man.
Yeah.
I find it enjoyable because the way it starts is terrific. Aloha. I hope, comma, you well yourself feel? Question mark. Sounds like some Jim Carrey shit. Aloha. I hope you well yourself feel. Alrighty then. I would like to better to find out each other. I search for stable relations and networks. When in doubt, work it out. Twerk, 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 twerk that ass. Why are my farts all coming out like little meatballs today?
Oh,
all right, everyone. Well, we hope you enjoyed the video. We definitely enjoyed making it. I enjoyed this one particularly because it definitely dived into a lot of personal relative topics.
yeah, a lot of opinions.
Sure. Until next time, my love.
All right.
Done.
Yeah.
Remember that one time I told you not to put something on the video and you put it on the video?
Uh-huh.
And it was really funny.
Yeah.